Jo Swan, the educational gardener from Bulwer Forest Garden. Hello and welcome to Let's Get Growing. So we're very excited to launch our new project. We know it's winter, but the project is designed to keep you growing through the winter, get you out in your gardens, and to give you some resources and advice about what kind of things you can be doing. So hopefully by now you've been to the garden and you've collected your packs, or you've had them delivered. So in your packs, to start with, there should be a small envelope. This isn't a bag, but a small envelope with broad beans written on it. And inside here, there should be 6 broad bean seeds. So these are a variety of broad beans that are quite hardy, called Agua-Dulce Claudia, and so they're ideal for growing now. And the good thing about sowing them in autumn is that you get an earlier crop, so you avoid black fly, which you can get later. So what we're going to do is we're going to start these off in pots. You can put them directly into the ground, but we're going to do them in pots and then transplant them. So I've got some multi-purpose potting compost, and for each one I'm going to fill the pot up to just below the rim, and I've got a dibber. I'm going to dib a hole. I'm going to get the broad bean seed and put it on its side to stop it from rotting. I'm going to plant it about 1 inch deep in there, and then I'm going to cover it with some more compost and press it down. Okay, so I've got my 6 seeds in 6 individual pots. So then I'm going to put a label so I know what they are, broad beans, and then I'm going to water them, and I'm going to have a fine rose on the end of my watering can, so I'm not going to drown them. I'm going to move them around. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover them. And the main reason for covering things at this time of year with broad beans is the problem that you could encounter, which I have encountered, so I'm talking from experience, is that mice love them. They're like a delicacy. So you might have all these lovely broad bean seeds just germinating, popping up, and you're thinking about your lovely crop in the future, and then the next day they're just all pulled out because mice love them. So it's good to keep them covered up. You can use chicken wire, you can try netting, but I'm just going to use, because I've got one, I'm going to use a propagating lid, and I'm going to leave those to germinate, which will probably take about 2 weeks at this time of year. So we'll return to these in our future videos, and we'll see how yours are getting on, and we'll see how mine are getting on. And they can go outside the hardy. You don't need a greenhouse. Okay, and also within your packs you should have a tray of garlic. So you might have 3 or you might have 4 young garlic plants. So each one of these is from 1 clove of garlic. So 1 clove of garlic will grow and form a bulb of garlic. So these are grown from seed garlic that we bought in, that is specific for growing in the UK. So I don't recommend that you use garlic that you buy in the supermarket, because a lot of it comes from Mediterranean stock, which isn't suitable for our climate. So these have been ready started, but as you can see, the roots are coming out at the base, so we need to transplant these. If you're lucky enough to have a patch of ground, you could put them in the ground, making sure your ground's well dug. But a lot of you haven't got that. So what I'm going to try is growing them in this pot, 3 of them in one of these pots. I think what would work very well would be a window box, but I haven't got one of them. So I'm just going to try this, and sometimes you can just experiment a little bit with what you've got. So I've got holes in the bottom of my container. I've got some stones in the bottom for drainage, and I'm going to use a mixture of some old potting compost and some multi-purpose compost, and I think that's got a bit of soil in it actually. It's just what my sweet peas were grown in last year. Need a little bit more. So I've got my pot to about that level, and then I'm going to gently take these out. Try not to disturb them if possible. A little tug, a bit of a squeeze. You can see the clove in there, and it's got a nice root system on it there. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to try 3 in here, which may or may not be a good idea, but we'll see. So I've got them in there. And I'm going to put the earth around them. And garlic, really, to be successful in this country, it needs a long growing season. So it needs a good cold winter followed by a hot summer. So this won't be ready till sort of July next year. So it's in the ground a long time. But you need to get it in as soon as possible with garlic. So again, I give that a nice water. And this is better outside. You don't really want this in a greenhouse because it needs the cold. And last but not least, you should have a lovely bag with a mixture of spring bulbs. So anybody interested in growing fruit and veg should also be interested in what they can grow for pollinating insects, because without them a lot of our fruit and veg won't grow basically. And also it brings a new dimension, having lots of wildlife in your garden. So we've got some lovely bulbs here, and what we're going to do is put them in a nice deep pot. It's got holes in the bottom, and we're going to do a lasagna pot, I believe they're called, which is planting in layers, so that when they grow you'll have a succession of flowers for a longer period. So again, I'm going to use some of the, let me put my label on that, put that in. I'm going to use a mixture. If you've got any leaf mould, well rotted leaf mould, bulbs would really benefit from that, but I haven't got any here at the moment. I'm going to get some of this old compost in. And I'm going to mix it up a bit with the new stuff. And the thing with bulbs is that all the nutrition that the plant needs already exists in the bulb. So they don't need too much feed. So we've got some daffodils. Oh, I think we'll put these in to start with. So the rule of thumb with bulbs is they need to be 1/3 of the depth of the bulb itself. So you can sort of look on here roughly 1, 2, 3. So that's about right where I am then. So we've got 3 daff bulbs. So I'm going to put them in here. And most of these bulbs will be really good for early pollinators like bumblebees. When they come out of hibernation, there's not really much around, so it's really good. The more flowers we can have for them, the better. Then I'm going to put another layer of compost on. And I think the next ones I'm going to put in, these are the alliums, Purple Sensations. So they're a member of the onion family, and they've got this beautiful purple flower head in. You just have to also check that you're putting them in the right way up. So that's the roots, that's where the roots, and this is where the shoots come out. So we'll put 3 of those in. And then we'll have another layer of compost. And the other bulbs are all a bit smaller. So I think in here we've got, you should have 4 muscari. So this is grape hyacinths. And again, just making sure that your bulbs point with a pointy end, the bulb's pointing up. So we've got 4 of these, and I'm going to bob them in like that. And then I'm going to put more compost in. And then finally, I've got the crocuses, which will be probably the first to flower. So you should have, I think, 5 crocus. These are corms. so we can just bob them around. Again, the right way up with the pointy bit at the top. Just spread them around. And then we'll put a final layer of compost to cover the crocuses up. And then I probably would put, I mean, if you had a layer of leaf mould there, I could add that at a later date. But I haven't, so I might just put some pebbles on top of that. And then I'll give it a water. But the thing with bulbs, the problems you might have with bulbs is that squirrels like to dig them up, and I don't know what they do with them, either eat them, they're just nuisances really. So what I would do, I'll put this outside in the garden, but I'm going to cover it, but I'm going to use, this is an old hanging basket that hasn't really got a use at the moment. So I'll probably just put that over the top like that to keep the pesky squirrels out. So that's, you've got 3 activities. If you can get cracking with them, and then we can see how you're getting on. You should get another pack in a couple of weeks' time with probably some wildflowers and some peas. There'll probably be 3 more activities. One thing you could do for the next pack is save your toilet roll tubes, because you could need, yeah, you're going to need them. I think that's the end of the first instalment of Let's Get Growing. So yeah, get wrapped up, get out in your garden, get growing.